The email arrived on a Monday morning in February, and the subject line alone was enough to make my stomach drop. Subject: Exciting announcement, AI Transformation Initiative. I was sitting at my desk on the fourth floor of Titan Industries headquarters in Chicago, drinking my second coffee of the day and reviewing quarterly performance reports. It was 8:47 in the morning. The sun was streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Everything seemed normal, routine, safe. And then I opened that email. My name is Dr. Catherine Hayes. I'm 44 years old, and until that Monday in February, I was the Senior Director of Business Analytics at Titan Industries, a Fortune 500 manufacturing conglomerate with operations in 47 countries and annual revenue of approximately $18 billion. I had a PhD in applied mathematics from the University of Chicago. I'd been with Titan for 14 years. I'd built the entire business analytics infrastructure from the ground up, transforming a company that made decisions based on gut instinct and outdated spreadsheets into a data-driven organization that used sophisticated predictive models, machine learning algorithms, and real-time analytics to optimize everything from supply chain logistics to product development to market expansion. I was proud of what I'd built. My team of 23 analysts, data scientists, and engineers had created systems that saved Titan hundreds of millions of dollars annually. We'd identified market opportunities that generated billions in new revenue. We'd predicted supply chain disruptions before they happened. We'd optimized manufacturing processes to reduce waste by 34%. We'd built recommendation engines that helped sales teams close deals more effectively. We'd created forecasting models that were accurate within 2% margins. We were good at what we did. Really good. And the company knew it. My performance reviews were consistently outstanding. My team's work was regularly cited in board presentations. The CEO, Thomas Brennan, had personally thanked me multiple times for the value we delivered. But Thomas Brennan had retired 6 months ago, and his replacement was his son, Christopher Brennan. Christopher was 32 years old. He had an MBA from Stanford, 3 years of experience in venture capital, and the kind of confidence that comes from never having to prove yourself because your last name opens every door. He'd been appointed CEO in September, and he'd spent the past 5 months talking about digital transformation, operational efficiency, and leveraging emerging technologies to drive shareholder value. And now, apparently, he was launching an AI transformation initiative. I opened the email. From Christopher Brennan, Chief Executive Officer, to all employees. Subject: Exciting announcement, AI Transformation Initiative. Team: I'm thrilled to announce a groundbreaking initiative that will position Titan Industries at the forefront of the AI revolution and deliver unprecedented value to our shareholders. After extensive research and consultation with leading AI experts, we're implementing a comprehensive AI transformation that will fundamentally change how we make business decisions. We're partnering with Apex Intelligence Solutions, a cutting-edge AI platform that uses advanced machine learning and neural networks to analyze data, identify patterns, and make optimal business recommendations. This AI system will replace many of our traditional analytical processes, allowing us to make faster, more accurate decisions while significantly reducing operational costs. The system will handle everything from supply chain optimization to market analysis to financial forecasting, all with greater speed and precision than traditional human-driven analytics. This transformation will allow us to reduce our analytics overhead by approximately 30% while actually improving decision quality. It's a win-win: better results, lower costs, and positioning Titan as an industry leader in AI adoption. I'll be sharing more details in the coming weeks, but I wanted you all to know that we're entering an exciting new chapter in Titan's history. The future is AI-driven, and we're going to lead the way. Onward. Christopher Brennan, Chief Executive Officer, Titan Industries. I read the email 3 times. Then I read it again. Replace traditional analytical processes. Reduce analytics overhead by 30%. Better results, lower costs. He was going to fire my team. He was going to eliminate the business analytics department and replace us with an AI platform he'd bought from some vendor I'd never heard of. My hands were shaking. I set down my coffee mug before I dropped it. My office door opened. Marcus Chin, my deputy director and one of the most brilliant data scientists I'd ever worked with, stuck his head in. His expression told me he'd read the email too. "Please tell me I'm misunderstanding this," he said. "You're not," I said quietly. "He's replacing us with AI. That's insane. We built these systems. We understand the data, the business context, the edge cases, the limitations. You can't just plug in some black box AI tool and expect it to make good business decisions. Apparently, Christopher thinks you can. Has he talked to you about this? Has he asked for your input?" "No. This email is the first I'm hearing about it." Marcus came into my office and closed the door behind him. "Catherine, this is going to be a disaster. Business analytics isn't just about crunching numbers. It's about understanding context, asking the right questions, validating assumptions, catching errors before they become problems. An AI system can't do that. Not without human oversight. Not without people who understand the business." "I know. So what do we do?" "I request a meeting with Christopher. I explain why this is a bad idea. I show him the data on what our team delivers. I make the case for why you can't replace human analysts with an AI black box. And if he doesn't listen?" I looked at Marcus. He was 38 years old, married with 2 kids, a mortgage, a life built around his career at Titan. He was asking me if he was about to lose his job. "Then we update our resumes," I said. I requested a meeting with Christopher that afternoon. His assistant scheduled me for Thursday morning, 3 days away. That told me everything I needed to know about how seriously he took my concerns. Over those 3 days, I prepared. I built a comprehensive presentation showing everything my team had accomplished over the past 5 years. Cost savings, revenue generation, risk mitigation, process optimization. I compiled case studies of successful projects. I gathered testimonials from executives across the company praising our work. I created financial models showing the return on investment for our department, which was approximately $47 returned for every dollar spent on analytics. I also researched Apex Intelligence Solutions, the AI platform Christopher was planning to implement. What I found was concerning. Apex was a 2-year-old startup based in San Francisco. They'd raised $85 million in venture capital funding based on promises of revolutionary AI-driven business intelligence. Their platform was marketed as a complete replacement for traditional analytics teams, using machine learning to automatically analyze data, identify patterns, and generate business recommendations. But when I dug deeper, I found problems. Their technology was largely black box, meaning users couldn't see how the AI was making decisions or validate its reasoning. Their case studies were vague and lacked specific metrics. Their client list included several companies that had quietly stopped using the platform after a few months. And most tellingly, their leadership team included 0 people with actual backgrounds in data science or business analytics. They were all former consultants, venture capitalists, and business development executives. It was a red flag factory. And Christopher was planning to bet Titan's entire analytical infrastructure on it. Thursday morning arrived. I walked into Christopher's office at 9 a.m. carrying my laptop, my presentation, and a growing sense of dread. Christopher's office was on the top floor, corner suite, with panoramic views of downtown Chicago. It had been his father's office for 30 years. Thomas Brennan had decorated it with family photos, industry awards, and mementos from decades of building Titan Industries. Christopher had redecorated. Now it looked like a tech startup, all modern furniture, minimalist design, and a massive monitor displaying real-time stock prices. "Catherine, thanks for coming," Christopher said, gesturing to a chair across from his desk. He didn't stand up, didn't shake my hand, just gestured vaguely while looking at his phone. "Thank you for meeting with me," I said. "I wanted to discuss the AI transformation initiative you announced on Monday." "Great initiative, right?" "I'm really excited about it. Apex Intelligence Solutions is doing incredible work. Their AI platform is going to revolutionize how we make decisions. I have some concerns about replacing our analytics team with an AI platform," I said carefully. "I've prepared a presentation showing what our team delivers and why human expertise is critical for business analytics." I'm sure your team does good work, Christopher said, still looking at his phone. But the reality is that AI can do it better, faster, and cheaper. That's just where the technology is now. Human analysts are becoming obsolete. With respect, that's not accurate. AI is a powerful tool, but it's not a replacement for human judgment and expertise. Business analytics requires understanding context, asking the right questions, validating assumptions, and catching errors. An AI system can't do that without human oversight. That's exactly the kind of thinking we need to move past, Christopher said, finally looking up from his phone. You're too close to the old way of doing things. You're invested in the traditional model because it's what you know. But the future is AI-driven decision-making. Companies that don't adapt will be left behind. I opened my laptop. I'd like to show you some data on what our team has accomplished and the value we deliver. I've seen the numbers. I know your team has done good work, but good isn't good enough anymore. We need to be great. We need to be cutting edge. And that means embracing AI. Christopher, I've researched Apex Intelligence Solutions. Their technology is largely improving. Their case studies are vague. Several of their clients have quietly stopped using the platform. This is a significant risk. Every innovation involves risk. That's how progress happens. My father built this company by taking calculated risks. I'm doing the same thing. This isn't a calculated risk. This is betting our entire analytical infrastructure on an unproven black box system from a startup with no track record of success. Christopher's expression hardened. Catherine, I appreciate your perspective, but this decision has been made. We're moving forward with the AI transformation. Apex will be implementing their platform over the next 60 days. During that transition period, your team will work with them to transfer knowledge and data. After the transition is complete, we'll be restructuring the analytics department. Restructuring, I said flatly. You mean eliminating. I mean right-sizing to reflect the new operational model. We'll still need a small team to oversee the AI system, but we won't need 23 people doing work that AI can do better. How many people? We're thinking 4 or 5. Enough to monitor the system and handle edge cases. 4 or 5 people. Out of 23. He was eliminating 18 positions. 18 people who'd spent years building expertise, understanding Titan's business, creating systems that actually worked. This is a mistake, I said. A serious mistake. And I'm formally recommending against it. Your recommendation is noted, Christopher said. But the decision stands. Apex will be on site next week to begin the implementation. I'll need your team to cooperate fully with the transition. The meeting was over. I'd been dismissed. I walked back to my office in a daze. My team was waiting for me. They'd seen me go into Christopher's office. They knew what the meeting was about. They could read the answer on my face. He's doing it, I said. He's eliminating the department and replacing us with the AI platform. We have 60 days. The room went silent. Then someone started crying. Then someone else started swearing. Then everyone started talking at once, voices overlapping, panic and anger and disbelief filling the space. I let them process for a few minutes. Then I said, listen, we have 60 days. We're going to use that time to document everything we do, every system we've built, every process we've created. We're going to make sure that when this AI system inevitably fails, there's a clear record of what we warned them about and what we tried to prevent. And we're going to start looking for new jobs, because this company is about to learn a very expensive lesson about the difference between AI tools and human expertise. The Apex Intelligence Solutions team arrived the following Monday. There were 6 of them, all in their late 20s or early 30s, all dressed in expensive casual clothes, all carrying the same confident energy that Christopher had. They were led by a woman named Vanessa Park, who introduced herself as the Chief Implementation Officer. We're so excited to be partnering with Titan, Vanessa said in our first meeting. Our AI platform is going to transform how you make business decisions. You're going to see improvements in speed, accuracy, and insight that you never thought possible. Can you explain how the AI actually works? Marcus asked. What algorithms are you using? How are you training the models? What data are you feeding them? Our technology is proprietary, Vanessa said smoothly. but I can tell you that we use advanced neural networks and machine learning algorithms to analyze patterns in your data and generate optimal recommendations. The system learns continuously, so it gets smarter over time. But how do we validate the recommendations? I asked. How do we know the AI is making good decisions? The AI makes better decisions than humans, Vanessa said, like it was obvious. That's the whole point. You don't need to validate it. You just need to trust it. Trust it. She wanted us to trust a black box AI system that we couldn't see inside, couldn't validate, couldn't understand. She wanted us to hand over business decisions worth billions of dollars to an algorithm that no one could explain. Over the next 60 days, we watched the Apex team implement their system. They connected it to Titan's data warehouses. They fed it years of historical data on sales, operations, supply chain, finance, everything. They configured dashboards that displayed the AI's recommendations in sleek, modern interfaces. They trained a small group of junior analysts to monitor the system and implement its recommendations. They did not consult with my team about business context. They did not ask about edge cases or data quality issues. They did not want to hear about the complexities of Titan's operations or the nuances of different markets or the limitations of the data. They just plugged in their AI and assumed it would work. I documented everything. Every meeting where we raised concerns and were dismissed. Every warning we gave about data quality issues or business context that the AI wouldn't understand. Every question we asked that they couldn't or wouldn't answer. I also started job hunting. So did the rest of my team. Within 3 weeks, 5 people had accepted offers at other companies. Within 6 weeks, another 8 had offers. By the time the 60-day transition period ended, 18 of my 23 team members had new jobs lined up. On April 15th, Christopher held a company-wide meeting to announce the completion of the AI transformation. Today marks a historic moment for Titan Industries, he said, standing at the front of the auditorium with the Apex team beside him. We're officially transitioning to AI-driven business analytics. The Apex Intelligence platform is now live and making recommendations across all our business units. This represents a 30% reduction in analytics costs while delivering superior decision-making capabilities. We're leading the industry into the future. He thanked the Apex team. He thanked the small group of junior analysts who would be monitoring the system. He did not thank my team, the people who'd built the systems that the AI was now replacing, the people who'd spent 60 days trying to prevent a disaster. The next day, 18 people from my analytics team received termination notices. Their positions were being eliminated as part of the AI transformation. They'd received 2 weeks of severance pay and outplacement services. I was one of the 5 people kept on. My new title was Analytics Oversight Manager. My new job was to monitor the AI system and handle edge cases. My team was reduced from 23 people to 5. My budget was cut by 70%. My authority was essentially eliminated. I'd gone from Senior Director of Business Analytics, leading a team that drove billions in value, to a glorified babysitter for an AI system I didn't trust and couldn't control. But I stayed, because I knew what was coming, and I wanted to be there to document it. The first sign of trouble came 3 weeks after the AI system went live. I was reviewing the AI's recommendations for the Industrial Equipment Division, one of Titan's largest business units with approximately $4 billion in annual revenue. The AI was recommending a significant shift in product mix, suggesting that Titan reduce production of heavy-duty industrial compressors and increase production of smaller commercial units. The recommendation didn't make sense. Heavy-duty industrial compressors were one of our most profitable product lines. They had high margins, strong customer loyalty, and consistent demand from industries like oil and gas, mining, and large-scale manufacturing. Commercial units had lower margins and more competition. I pulled up the underlying data to understand why the AI was making this recommendation. What I found was concerning. The AI had analyzed sales data and concluded that commercial units had higher sales volume than industrial compressors. That was true, but it had failed to account for the fact that commercial units had much lower profit margins. It was optimizing for volume instead of profitability. This was a basic error. Any first-year business analyst would have caught it. But the AI didn't understand the difference between revenue and profit. It just saw higher numbers and assumed that was better. I flagged the issue and sent it to Christopher's office with a detailed explanation of why the recommendation was flawed. The response came back 2 days later from one of Christopher's assistants. The AI's recommendations are based on comprehensive data analysis. Please implement as directed. They weren't going to listen. They were going to trust the AI over human expertise, even when the AI was obviously wrong. I documented the exchange. I saved every email. I noted the date and time. I was building a record. Over the next 2 months, I identified 14 more significant errors in the AI's recommendations. The AI recommended closing a manufacturing facility in Germany that was actually one of our most efficient plants because it had misinterpreted maintenance cost data. It recommended entering a market in Southeast Asia that our team had previously analyzed and determined was not viable due to regulatory barriers that the AI didn't understand. It recommended cutting the budget for research and development in our advanced materials division because it couldn't quantify the long-term value of innovation. Every time, I flagged the issue. Every time, I explained why the recommendation was wrong. Every time, I was told to trust the AI. And every time, I documented everything. The real disaster started in July. The AI had been analyzing data from all of Titan's business divisions, looking for optimization opportunities. And it had identified what it considered a major finding. The Precision Components division was underperforming and should be shut down. Precision Components was a division that manufactured high-precision parts for aerospace, medical devices, and advanced electronics. It had annual revenue of approximately $800 million. According to the AI's analysis, the division had declining margins, increasing costs, and poor growth prospects. The AI recommended shutting down the division entirely and reallocating those resources to higher growth areas. The recommendation went to the executive leadership team. Christopher loved it. He saw it as exactly the kind of bold, data-driven decision-making that AI enabled. He started planning the shutdown. I saw the recommendation and immediately knew it was catastrophically wrong. I pulled the data. I analyzed the numbers. And I found the problem. The AI had misinterpreted the division's financial data. Precision Components had been making significant investments in new manufacturing equipment and R&D over the past 2 years. Those investments showed up as costs in the short term, which made the margins look bad. But they were investments that would pay off over the next 5 to 10 years. The division wasn't underperforming. It was positioning itself for long-term growth in high-value markets. Moreover, Precision Components had long-term contracts with major aerospace and medical device companies worth approximately $3 billion over the next decade. Shutting down the division would mean breaking those contracts, paying massive penalties, and destroying relationships with some of Titan's most important customers. The AI didn't understand any of this. It just saw short-term costs and declining margins and concluded the division should be shut down. I wrote a 15-page report explaining why the AI's recommendation was wrong. I included detailed financial analysis, contract information, market data, and projections showing that Precision Components was actually one of Titan's most valuable long-term assets. I sent it to Christopher, to the CFO, to every member of the executive leadership team. I got a response from Christopher 3 days later. Thank you for your input. However, the AI's analysis is comprehensive and data-driven. We're moving forward with the shutdown of Precision Components. The decision is final. They were going to do it. They were going to shut down an $800 million division with $3 billion in future contracts because an AI system had misinterpreted the data. I sent one more email. A final warning. I explained in the clearest possible terms that this decision would cost Titan hundreds of millions of dollars in contract penalties, lost revenue, and destroyed customer relationships. I explained that the AI had made a fundamental error in its analysis. I begged them to reconsider. The response: your concerns are noted. The decision stands. I printed out every email. I saved every document. I backed up everything to my personal cloud storage. Because I knew what was coming next. The announcement that Titan was shutting down Precision Components was made in August. The reaction was immediate and catastrophic. Major customers were furious. Boeing, Medtronic, Siemens, and a dozen other companies that had long-term contracts with precision components threatened legal action. The contract penalties alone were estimated at over $200 million. Several customers announced they were terminating all business relationships with Titan, not just in precision components, but across all divisions. They couldn't trust a supplier that would suddenly shut down a division without warning. The financial markets reacted badly. Titan's stock price dropped 18% in 2 days. Analysts published reports questioning the company's strategic direction and leadership. Investors started calling for Christopher's resignation. And then the real costs started becoming clear. The contract penalties were actually closer to $300 million, not $200 million. The lost future revenue from terminated contracts was approximately $3 billion. The cost of shutting down the division, including severance for 2,400 employees, facility closures, and equipment liquidation, was another $150 million. The damage to Titan's reputation and customer relationships was incalculable but significant. And all of this could have been avoided if anyone had listened to the human analysts who actually understood the business. By September, the board of directors had had enough. They launched an investigation into what had happened. They brought in external consultants to review the AI system and the decisions it had made. They interviewed executives, analysts, and employees across the company. And they found exactly what I'd been documenting for 6 months, a pattern of AI-driven decisions that ignored business context, misinterpreted data, and led to catastrophic outcomes. They found 14 significant errors that I'd flagged and that had been ignored. They found the 15-page report I'd written warning about precision components. They found every email where I'd raised concerns and been dismissed. The total cost of Christopher's AI transformation, approximately $500 million in direct losses, plus immeasurable damage to customer relationships and company reputation. In October, the board held an emergency meeting. Christopher Brennan was removed as CEO. The Apex Intelligence Solutions contract was terminated, and the board reached out to me with a question. Could we rebuild the analytics team and fix the damage? The call came on a Tuesday afternoon. It was Margaret Winters, the board chair, calling me directly. "Dr. Hayes, I want to start by apologizing," she said. "The board should have been paying closer attention to what was happening. We should have listened when you raised concerns. We failed in our oversight responsibilities, and as a result, this company has suffered tremendous damage." "I appreciate that," I said carefully. "We'd like to offer you a position as Chief Analytics Officer. Full executive role, reporting directly to the board. Your mandate would be to rebuild the analytics team, restore our analytical capabilities, and help us recover from the damage that's been done. We're prepared to offer you significant compensation and full authority over all analytics operations." What about Christopher? Christopher is no longer with the company. The board voted unanimously to terminate his employment. We're conducting a search for a new CEO, and in the meantime, our CFO is serving as interim CEO. And the former analytics team? The 18 people who were fired. We'd like you to reach out to them and offer them their positions back, with apologies, back pay for the time they were unemployed, and raises. We understand that some of them may have moved on to other opportunities, but we want to make every effort to bring back the team that built our analytics capabilities in the first place. I thought about it. I thought about the 6 months of watching my warnings be ignored, watching an AI system make catastrophic decisions, watching a company I'd served for 14 years nearly destroy itself because a 32-year-old with an MBA thought he knew better than the experts. I thought about the 18 people who'd been fired, who'd lost their jobs because Christopher wanted to cut costs and look innovative. I thought about the $500 million in losses that could have been prevented if anyone had listened. "I'll do it," I said. "But I have conditions." "Name them." "First, I want a written guarantee that analytics decisions will be made by analytics professionals, not by executives with no technical background. No more black box AI systems. No more ignoring expert recommendations. No more prioritizing cost-cutting over decision quality." "Agreed." Second, I want the full analytics team rehired at their previous positions plus 25% raises and formal apologies from the board. And I want severance packages for anyone who chooses not to return. Agreed. Third, I want a comprehensive review of every decision made by the Apex AI system over the past 6 months, with corrections made where necessary. And I want a public acknowledgement that the AI transformation was a failure and that Titan is returning to expert-driven analytics. Agreed. And fourth, I want a seat on the board. If I'm going to be Chief Analytics Officer, I need to be in the room where strategic decisions are made. I need to be able to prevent this from happening again. Pause. That's a significant ask, Margaret said. It's a necessary ask. This disaster happened because analytics expertise was excluded from strategic decision-making. If you want to prevent it from happening again, you need analytics leadership at the highest level. I'll need to discuss it with the full board. I understand. But that's my condition. 2 days later, Margaret called back. The board has agreed to all your conditions, including the board seat. When can you start? Immediately, I said. Rebuilding took 6 months. I reached out to all 18 former team members. 14 of them agreed to return. 4 had moved on to opportunities they didn't want to leave, which I understood and respected. I hired 4 new analysts to replace them, plus 6 additional people to expand our capabilities. We conducted a comprehensive review of every decision the Apex AI system had made. We found 47 significant errors, including the catastrophic precision components recommendation. We corrected what we could. We rebuilt relationships with customers. We restored analytical processes that actually worked. We also implemented new policies. All AI tools had to be transparent and explainable. All AI recommendations had to be reviewed by human analysts who understood the business context. All major decisions had to be validated by people with relevant expertise. No more black box systems. No more trusting algorithms over human judgment. The precision components shutdown was partially reversed. We couldn't undo all the damage, but we were able to restart some operations, rehire some employees, and salvage some customer relationships. The total cost was still approximately $500 million, but it could have been worse. Christopher Brennan was gone. The board hired a new CEO with 30 years of industry experience and a deep respect for expertise. The company slowly recovered. The stock price stabilized. Customer relationships were gradually rebuilt. And I became Chief Analytics Officer and a member of the board of directors, ensuring that analytics expertise would always have a voice in strategic decisions. I think about those 6 months a lot. The 6 months when I watched a company nearly destroy itself because a CEO with no technical background thought AI could replace human expertise. The 6 months when I documented every warning that was ignored, every error that was dismissed, every disaster that could have been prevented. People ask me if I'm angry about what happened. If I'm angry that my team was fired, that my warnings were ignored, that the company lost $500 million because someone valued innovation theater over actual competence. I'm not angry anymore. I was angry at the time. I was furious watching Christopher dismiss expert advice, watching him trust a black box AI system over people who'd spent decades building expertise, watching him make decisions that any competent analyst could see were wrong. But now I'm just sad. Sad that it took a $500 million disaster for the board to realize that expertise matters. Sad that 18 people lost their jobs and had their careers disrupted because someone wanted to look cutting edge. Sad that thousands of employees in precision components had their lives upended because an AI system misinterpreted financial data and no one bothered to validate its recommendations. The lesson here isn't that AI is bad. AI is a powerful tool. We use AI tools extensively in our rebuilt analytics department. But we use them as tools, not as replacements for human judgment. We use them to augment human expertise, not to replace it. We validate their recommendations. We understand their limitations. We don't trust them blindly. The lesson is that expertise matters. That you can't replace years of experience and deep knowledge with a black box algorithm. That business decisions require understanding context, asking the right questions, and validating assumptions. That cutting costs by eliminating the people who actually understand your business is a recipe for disaster. Christopher Brennan learned that lesson the hard way. It cost him his job, his reputation, and his credibility. It cost Titan Industries $500 million and immeasurable damage to customer relationships and company reputation. But the company survived. We rebuilt. We restored our analytical capabilities. We implemented policies to prevent this from ever happening again. We're stronger now because we learned what happens when you prioritize innovation theater over actual competence. If you work at a company that's considering replacing human experts with AI systems, I want you to remember this story. Remember that AI is a tool, not a magic solution. Remember that business decisions require context, judgment, and expertise that algorithms can't replicate. Remember that the people who actually understand your business, your data, your customers are not overhead to be eliminated. They're the foundation of good decision-making. And if you're a leader considering an AI transformation, I want you to ask yourself some questions. Do you understand how the AI actually works? Can you validate its recommendations? Do you have experts who can catch errors before they become disasters? Are you implementing AI because it will actually improve your business or because you want to look innovative? Because if you can't answer those questions, if you're just trusting a black box system because someone told you AI is the future, you're setting yourself up for a very expensive lesson. Christopher Brennan thought he was leading Titan Industries into the future. He thought he was being bold and innovative. He thought AI could replace the analytics team that had spent 14 years building expertise and delivering value. He was wrong. And it cost $500 million to prove it. Don't make the same mistake. If you found value in this story, please like and subscribe for more real stories about workplace politics, corporate dysfunction, and what happens when companies learn expensive lessons about the difference between innovation and innovation theater. I post news stories every week about the reality of corporate life, the good, the bad, and the catastrophically expensive mistakes that happen when leaders prioritize looking cutting edge over actually being competent. Remember, AI is a powerful tool, but it's not a replacement for human expertise. Business decisions require judgment, context, and understanding that algorithms can't replicate. And companies that forget that will pay the price in money, in reputation, and in the desperate scramble to rebuild what they destroyed in the name of progress. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week.